Welcome to Small Business 21st Century and this segment of the Wealth Zone University. And I'm your host, Don Maraney. How have you been? This session, we're not going to have a guest. We're going to do what I like to call straight talk. And if you remember, that's where I delve into a topic that I think is important for you and I to get a good handle on. And that topic basically is just going back to why I really appreciate each and every one of you for being so loyal and so consistent in just being part of the Wealth Zone University family. And so we've been together about a decade, and we're going to talk about a couple of things that are important. And if you notice, I have on a green suit. I wore a green suit of some type for the first 10 years. And you probably already know that the significance of that green was to connote money. I know you figured that out a long time ago. Well, we're going to talk about money today, and we're going to start with our credo, which is change your mind about money so you can change your financial future. So what the heck does that mean, right? So let's delve into that. Change your mind about money so you can change your financial future. So first, let's define a couple of things, okay? Change. What does that mean? Basically, excuse me for looking down and reading. I want to make sure I get these things right for you. As a verb, it means to make different, alter, modify. As a noun, it means to act or instance of making something become different. And so what does money mean? I think we all think we know what money is because we use it every day. But in this economy, we're seeing less and less money move around and more electronic financial transactions. So money is just a medium of exchange in the form of coins and notes, and now electronic, accepted for payments of goods, services, debt, and investment. So that's the first part. Change your mind about money so you can change your financial future, which brings us to the next definition. What is financial? The creation, management, study of financial systems related to banking, credit, investments, currency, assets, and other aspects of financial systems. Now, I know this might sound like third grade, but bear with me. It's going to be important to our discussion about the entire topic, okay? And then the last thing, the word future. We all know what that means. It's a time or period of time regarded as still to come. So if we put that all together to change your mind about money, to change your financial future, basically what we're saying is we have to learn, you and I have to learn how to manage our money so that our lives can be much better economically going forward. And why is that important? Because we're told that we need to have someone else invest our money for us, manage our money for us, because we're not smart enough. But I think like this: if I'm smart enough to earn it, I am definitely smart enough to manage it, okay? And so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about being in control of your money from the time that you earn it till the time that it starts working for you, and knowing how to handle and get advice. Again, we definitely need prudent advice, but we also need to be the ones who are telling these advisors what outcome we're looking for, and they should not be telling us what outcome they're looking for, because we want to make sure that everything is done in our best interest, and who knows our best interest better than we do, okay? So that's what we've been talking about. We've got a free ebook that we can send to you called The Financial Wellness Strategy, where it explains how we feel, the Wealth Zone University, the steps that we feel that everyone should know about in order to begin to take control of their management of their finances, both personally and family, okay? And that, again, it's called the Financial Wellness Strategy. It has 5 what we call fin steps, just fancy things for fancy name for 5 concepts that we think are important. And we're not going to delve into them today, but the first is to save. We as a people do not save money. We're not taught when we're young to save money. We don't save money when we are working. And in our golden years, we regret that really, really a lot, okay? So we've got to learn to save. Protect. Will Rogers once said that I'm more worried about the return of my money than the return on my money. Basically, and I love that adage. Basically, I want my money to be there. No matter how much it is, I like it to be there. Sure, I'd like it to earn. I'd like it to work, but I don't want to risk my money in versus to increase the earnings, okay? So that's protection. We do want it to grow. There's certain concepts in the growth of our money that we need to be aware of. Risk, reducing risk, compounding, and those things. And again, we can talk about these things in another segment. But I do want you to know that it's important for us to grow our money, make it work for us. Conserve. We need to make sure that we're using our money intelligently, especially around credit and plastic. Now, we all know that plastic is very bad for our nation and the universe and the earth, but plastic can also be really bad for our financial health. So we'll talk about that at another time also. Just remember, plastic can be bad for your financial health, okay? And then the last thing is to maximize. And that's putting your money in a place where it's safe, but it gets the best return, and then taking any tax advantages that may be applicable to maximizing on it, okay? So those are the 5 financial steps that are in the ebook that is free to you called the Financial Wellness Strategy. All you have to do, send me an email to wzu@inthezoneonline.com. I'll jet it out to you and we'll go from that point on, okay? So we've done the introduction to the credo. But first, I really want to thank each one of you for hanging out for me for a decade. I mean, really, it's you who make this show possible. It's you looking at our shows, subscribing, liking, commenting, and then sending me emails that make this show your show. And I want to continue to emphasize that it is your show. So I thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for being loyal to the Wealth Zone University and for hanging with us. Excuse me. See, I'm getting choked up. For hanging with us for a decade, and we hope to be with you for another decade. And bring your young people. The more we know about money, the earlier we know about money, the better our lives are going to be. Because face it, whether it's in cash or whether it's electronic, money is the basis of everything that we do and how our lives will proceed economically, okay? So that's important. Good. So we defined a couple of things that help you to understand why our credo is change your mind about money to change your financial future. I want to touch on a couple of things, though. I believe that the world is broken down into economic classes. Just quickly, indigent, poor, middle class, upper middle class, rich, wealthy, etc. And I believe that in those economic classes, there are all colors, all religions, all geographies. And so we are preoccupied with our biases and letting those things get involved in how we do economics. I think we really need to concentrate on moving from one economic class to the other. And in order to do that, you really need to understand what economics are, and we're going to talk about that in the second segment. But let me just use this supposition, and hopefully you'll agree with me, but if you don't, let me know. Send me an email. I want to know, okay? The thing that we're all striving for is to make a living wage. We're all striving just to make a living wage, which allows us to live at a standard that's comfortable for us without being indigent, without needing support from anyone else. That's the living wage. I think that's really important. And we're all striving for that. And believe me, there are groups and groups of people in the United States and groups of people in the world who do not enjoy the status of a living wage. We call them indigent, we call them poor, but nonetheless, it's economic, okay? And it's everybody. It doesn't matter what color you are, what language you speak, where you are. You look around, and if you're poor, everybody's there with you. If you're a living wage, you look around, everybody's there with you. It's an economic class. And then once we get to the living wage, we want to look at what's called financial security. And we all hear that term all the time. But what does that mean? In my mind, it means that we've got enough money to do what we need to do to live. And then we've got a little extra to put away in case of an emergency so that we don't have to disadvantage the rest of our lives to cover an emergency. Just a simple definition, okay? And then above that is a term that most people never, ever, ever realize. It's called financial independence. And financial independence basically is where all of your living expenses are covered. You're living comfortably, but you are in full control of your money, your assets, and everything else that go along with it. Now, you're still working, okay, and you've got a good job, but you've managed to amass enough savings and assets that you really aren't concerned about day to day. You're not living paycheck to paycheck. You're not living month to month. And that's financial independence, where you have some control over what your money is doing, and you're comfortable about the money that you have and your economics, and you are living the lifestyle that you choose to live. And financial independence means that you are not deeply in debt, okay? Now, then there are our favorite two words, rich and wealthy. Rich just means that you've got a whole lot of money. An example I always use is the basketball player who has a real big salary, but if he kicked off the team or the team moves, he's sitting there trying to get a living wage like you and I, okay? It's the team owner who gives him those $1 million contracts that's wealthy. And wealthy basically is meaning assets, accumulating assets that allow you to increase your net worth, not have to worry about the flow of cash, and also to be able to provide a legacy to your family and your heirs. And so that's the definition that I want you to take away with you. To change your mind about money, to change your financial future, means exactly that. And because you and I are at these various stages, I think we need to make sure that we fully understand where we're going. And the most important thing is we can move from one economic level to the other economic level if we plan for it. And that plan should be basically, let me hear you, to change your mind about money, absolutely, so you could change your financial future. Hey, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and then in the next segment, we're going to talk about the other side of the Wealth Zone University, the business side, because you know that is our prime objective here, to make everybody understand that if you're in business for yourself, you're on the path to your economic freedom. See you soon. Hi, everyone. The objective of the Wealth Zone University is to change your mind about money, to change your financial future. Hi, I'm your host, Don Maraney. In the Wealth Zone University, my guests and I talk about a wide variety of business, financial, and other worldly topics. We are seeking to both educate and entertain you. We emphasize that the informations and discussions are my opinion, perspectives, and ideas, and those of our guests. We in no way intend to deliver or provide financial, tax, or business advice. You should consult with your tax, accounting, financial, insurance, and legal advisors regarding the impact, application, or pertinence of any topic or opinion that we share on the Wealth Zone University. Thank you for being a part of our audience, and please continue to communicate with us through email and Twitter, because this is your show. Okay, we're back for the second segment, and I think the first segment went well. This segment I'm really, really excited about, because the primary objective of the Wealth Zone University is to talk about business. I've been in business 40 years, and most of the clients people that we present as guests are our clients or associates who are successful in business. And we believe that being in business puts you in control of your money, puts you in control of your monetary future, and allows you then, once you have the control, to grow that both inside your business and for yourself because you own the business. And so you'll see as our show starts in our intro, we talk about the business of being in business. We also talk about your business as an economic asset. And those two things are extremely important. And so we're going to talk about them in this segment. And again, let me know whether you agree or disagree. Believe me, I'm just telling you what I learned, what I know, what I think. I'd like to also know what you feel about what we're presenting, okay? So economics. What is economics? I mean, really, what does it mean? Well, economics is a branch of knowledge concerned with the production, consumption, and transfer of wealth. There's that wealth word again. Now, I need you to understand that rich is not wealthy. Rich is you just have a whole bunch of money, but it could go away tomorrow. Wealthy is where you have assets. Part of that could be money, but you have assets that have high net worth, that generate their own flow of cash, and it's accumulating so that you've got way more than you need, and you can pass that on to your legacy and wealth. We'll get into discussion of wealthy people and everything else at some other time, but realize that wealth is within the reach of every one of us. We just have to understand that we need to start it early, and it all begins with that one four-letter word, save. We have to learn to save. And not only on the personal side, I tell my clients that they should be taking 10%, 15%, I don't care how much it is, of the money that goes into their business bank account and moving it into a reserve so that they don't spend all of their business money. We have to learn how to save. And so let me digress just for 1 second. It's hard to save. I understand that. An example, you make $60,000 a year. After you pay your withholding and your FICA and Social Security and everybody else, that $60,000 is now $40,000, unfortunately, okay? And then after you pay your rent and you pay your insurance and the child care, which is a monumental cost, I mean, there is absolutely nothing left over to put away. And then somebody like me comes along and says, well, you should have 3 months of expenses in a savings account or 6 paychecks. Yeah, that really sounds good. But hey, I almost didn't make it through last week. How am I going to save this? And I don't have a solution to that problem. But I do know that we have to find some way. It's either reducing our expenditures, reducing our level of living to start putting away some amount. And we have to teach our kids to do it. And so, I mean, I know that's a big subject that I can't talk about now, but I just want to digress and say personal savings, business savings, we have to begin to save. That's economic. Part of that is economic freedom. So what is freedom? It's the right to do what you want as long as it's not hurting anybody else without hindrance or restraint. Okay? So that economic freedom, that's what we're talking about. So business, what is business? Business is the practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. You didn't know that, did you? You thought business was selling and services and selling products and all that good stuff. Well, that's how you make the money. That's how you move the money around. But the whole purpose of that is to develop commerce that leads to bettering your life, everybody's life of the people that work for you, and everybody's life of the people that you touch and your community. I mean, that's the purpose of business. And if you notice, big business, which we call Fortune 500 multinationals, yeah, I have a problem with some of the conscious things that they do from a conscious perspective, but they generate money for the stockholders, for the everybody who has an interest in it, and that's what we should be doing for ourselves at our level. Again, topic for more discussion later on. Capitalism, that's the whole system that this entire thing is locked into, and whether you like it or not, the whole world has become capitalist. And capitalism basically is that the wealth of an endeavor is in the hands of private individuals, me and you. So I'll give you an example. If I own a business and I'm the stockholder, the wealth that I build, the savings and the wealth that I build in that business belongs to me. I'm a private individual. Doesn't belong to anybody else, belongs to the stockholders. And that's what the concept of business is. So last thing, and I know this might be a little bit bigger than we want to talk about, but capitalism and economics is not in your house, it's not in your community, it's not in your state, it's global. Everything that happens around the world economically impacts us right here. Now, we might not see it, but we know it does, and we feel it. We're all still in the Great Recession right now and looking for interest rates to go down and inflation to go down and costs to go down and everything else. And the whole rest of the world is in that same recession. So, we're not alone. And so everything that happens around us, and especially globally, impacts us. It's important that we understand that. And so being in business for yourself, and our motto is the business of being in business, our concern is that you need to learn how business is done. Too many businesses go out and try and reinvent the wheel and come up with novel concepts about how business is done. Folks, the big Fortune 500 companies, the multinationals, have been successful for hundreds of years. Why would you go out and try and invent a new model of business? Now, again, doing business and being in business and inventing things that create revenue and commerce, that's what it's all about. The things that we're seeing now, the things that are going online, the gig economy, all of those things are brand new. But I want you to understand that the way of handling those things, the way we handle those things, the way we implement them, the way we establish the flow in our businesses has to be some type of proven practice that's going to become an operation. And those proven practices basically have been around for hundreds of years. It's a large economic business model. And what I'm saying is that's what we should be looking at to run our businesses. Our business is an economic asset. What does that mean? That means that we should be building money, assets, value into the businesses that we're running. And look, more and more people are going into business for themselves for two reasons. One, they want to be in control of their futures. Two, it's a gig economy. I mean, everything has changed, especially after the pandemic. But three, there are people who are making loads and loads of money through e-commerce, YouTube. I mean, just loads of money. They're called influencers, okay? But the one thing I need you to understand is when you start looking at these influencers, you need to realize how their money is being made. They're not necessarily providing a service or product. They're being paid by advertisers to present their products to you to buy as a consumer. And consume means to just use up something. And so whoever called us consumers first, it really insulted us because that's what we're doing. We're just using up all our money, just buying stuff that we think we need. And we probably do need most of it, but the rest of it we think we need without understanding that first thing we've got to do is set aside some money for our present and our futures, and especially emergencies, okay? And being in business allows you to be in control of the flow of that money. Sure, as an employee, basically, I rely on my employer to make sure that I've got a paycheck, okay? But as a business owner, I rely on me to make sure that my business is generating the kind of money that can give me that paycheck. And again, that's where living wage comes in, and that's when financial security come in, because when I start my business, that's the first thing I want to do. I want to make sure that I have a living wage, and then the next thing I want to do, I want to make sure that living wage rises to the level of financial security, And then the third thing I want to do is I want to go to financial independence. So that's what our credo and our mantras are. Again, to repeat, your business is an economic asset and learning the business of being in business, okay? Now, I've got a free ebook that you can get that it's like, I call it a primer on business, okay? It's called Right Now is the Right Time. And why did I use that title? It's because we tend to find reasons to procrastinate or put off our savings and learning about money till later on, you know? There are thousands of reasons. I'm too dumb, I'm too tired, Uncle Sam's gonna take it, some advisor's gonna, take all my money. But right now is the right time. So send me an email, Wealth Zone University at, WZU at inthezoneonline.com. I'll send you the free ebook, take a look at it. Let's talk through email, but it's imperative that we begin to take control of our personal finances and our business finances. And so as we go, I want to really, really thank you for hanging out with us for a decade or more. Please stay and hang out with us for another decade because this is your show. But I also want to thank all of my clients and my associates who've been guests on my show and continue to be guests on my show because they are the ones who bring real life successful experiences and role models to you so that you can know that they have done it, you can do it too. And lastly, I want to thank my wonderful staff here who makes me look good every single month. I mean, you're talking about professionals and you're talking about people who care. This staff, they care. I could not do this without them. They know I love them. And so send me an email and tell me how much you love how the show is being produced by our producers and our staff, and I'll let them know that you love them too, okay? So I'm gonna see you next session of the Wealth Zone University, and I'm gonna make sure that we have another great topic, another great guest, but I do want you to know this. This is your show, and we're trying to make sure that your financial future is bright and free. Take care.